You ready for an adventure?
Welcome back to WD Magiccast for the week of January 1st, 2023. Happy New Year, everyone! This is episode 209. WD Magiccast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Gracon. In this week's show, Dave is back with me to discuss what we're looking forward to in the brand new year, 2003. What are some of the things that have us excited? What are we looking for? And I may give a brief lesson on something that's coming up on Disney Plus in November that was announced last year that I personally am quite excited about. Stay tuned and you'll find out just what. I do have a survey. The survey says, which park would you want to spend New Year's Eve or New Year's Day in? Choices being Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Paris. Sorry, the overseas ones, Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, did not give any love. I apologize. I'm sorry. Well, no, I can't apologize. You the people spoke. But 33% of you said you wanted to be in Disneyland. And that means an outstanding 67% of you said that you wanted to spend the day at Walt Disney World. Spend the new year at Walt Disney World. And I don't blame you. A lot of fun going on. Oh, I remember fondly back in the day of Pleasure Island, and it was New Year's Eve every day there. And they would do the celebration, and particularly on the real New Year's Eve, they would do a bigger celebration. They had the live band stage, performers, and fireworks, and all sorts of celebrating going on there, of many different sorts. And on that note, I also do want to take a moment. This episode was recorded before the news broke this past weekend on the 31st when we lost Barbara Walters, a Disney legend, many years at ABC News, doing interviews, and started the TV show The View. She got that going. Whatever you may think of it now. Now is not what it was whenever she started it. It was a lot different back then. And since she's left it, people change, topics change, the way it's presented. Things evolve over time. But yeah, she had a lot to do with ABC and the Disney company. And her work will be missed. I mean, no one really gave an interview like Barbara Walters that she really got people to open up to her. And it's a gift that will not easily be duplicated or seen again. And like I said, she will be missed. And on that note, we'll be back after these words from our friends and sponsors. And now, On with the show. Happy New Year, everyone. Ball has dropped. The eggnog has been drunk. The fireworks have shot off. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve is over and done and just a memory now. And we have so much to look forward to a brand new year that what is ahead of us that Disney's going to bring. And a man who's always looking forwards and never looking backwards, because car may hit him if he does that. Will be Dave Gelman is back to enjoy and speculate and talk about looking ahead to 2023. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you, Matt. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody out there. And
seems like it was, we haven't talked since last year.
I know. It's been a minute.
Has it now?
It's been a minute.
Maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, having this little discussion of what's coming up in 2023.
Yeah, as I was going through the list, and I'm just like, wow, okay, there's a lot coming here. Oh, there's even more coming. I don't think I even got, maybe I have a little over half of everything that's going to come.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've forgotten some stuff. And you know what? Also, we have to keep in mind, everything is fluid.
Mm-hmm.
It may be coming, it may be set, and then something happens, it gets jostles around, it gets pushed to next year, something happens, there's a delay. But as of right now, this is the stuff that we've been told is going to happen this year. We shall see. One of the biggest things to start off the year is it's the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company.
Mm.
Now, back in 2001, we had the 100th year celebration. So people might be getting confused. That was the 100th. That would have been Walt Disney's 100th birthday. That would have been his centennial birthday in 2001. That's what the company was celebrating. This we're celebrating is the 100th year of the creation of of the Disney Brothers, what became the Disney Company, Disney Studios, Disney Company, Walt Disney Company, and 100 years of this wonderful company that has brought us so much joy, laughter, tears, memories. It's now, it's been 100 years, and it's kind of weird to think. But yeah, 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. And by doing that, there's stuff going on at the parks. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. They are having the Disney 100 exhibition. The press logline is celebrate 100 years of the Walt Disney Company and explore highlights from the Walt Disney archives with immersive themed environments from the movies, television productions, and Disney park favorites. Tickets are available now with your membership. It is definitely going to be something to check out, to experience. I am giddy about this. I'm going to try and get to it as soon as possible you can. I believe it does open up this month or next month. I apologize, I don't have the exact date on there, but I'm pretty sure it opens this month.
How long are they running that for?
It's going to be there for most of the year.
Most of the year? Okay.
I think through September or November.
Are they switching anything at the parks? Like, how they still got the 50th. Once the 50th clears out, are they changing, to the 100th celebration or no?
Redoing the theming on the castle to something for the centennial, I don't believe so. Okay. They could do one of two things. They can switch out the 50th display on the castle and then switch that to something new and just keep the rest of the castle in its way and just kind of change the little placard there that says 50 on it. That's one possibility. The other thing is that they strip all that down and return the castle to its bluish gray usual colors.
Right.
So I don't believe, as far as decorating in that aspect, that there will be anything going on. But will they be doing special celebrations and promotions and merchandise stuff going on? Yes, that'll be happening. So I haven't heard of anything beyond that. Disneyland's already starting to do some things. Maybe there'll be some special shows. But that's all I know. But you bring up a good point, and I'm going to speculate here. So something that they said is that the 50th celebration in Disney World will be ending in March. And they said that Enchanted, the current fireworks show in Disney World, which you saw and I didn't see, and then I'm blanking on the name. The one in Epcot.
The one in Epcot's supposed to change.
One's changing as well. What's not to say? Now, they said they're bringing back Happily Ever After, but it's going to be slightly different than what we saw prior to the 50th. What's not to say that it's going to be something involving the 100th for the company?
Yeah.
And I could easily see them working that into it because of how Happily Ever After is, and it is such a celebration of film. And really Harmonious. That's the one.
Harmonious. There you go.
You can. Now everyone's expecting them to take out all the equipment for Harmonious, and I said, well, they said they're changing the show. They didn't say that they're going to be changing all the equipment.
Yeah, but that was one of my questions. Like, why would they spent a ton of money, right, putting those whole new thing in there? So why would they just pull it out and put new stuff in there? That doesn't sound feasible.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the bet that that stuff is going to be there, and they're going to change the show itself, and just reprogram things, and because the equipment is fantastic. Now it does suffer from the point that you have to be in one of two locations to see the full show, and everything else is kind of you get a segment of the show, but it is very easy to just upload the images that appear on what people call the tacos. And the same thing with reprogram the Stargate type of thing in the center. And you kind of learn from your mistakes. Okay, you can only really see it from anything from the Stargate. You can only see fully from the 2 points. You change how you present on there, and you use the screens in a more efficient way,
right?
Because those screens you can see from all around the lagoon. So you work it that way, and then again you do something for the 100th there too. So pure speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do something along that way. And then celebrate stuff through that. Is this going to be an 18-month long celebration in the parks? I don't know. They haven't said anything. They've been very quiet on that. Far be it for them not to.
Right.
Because they've done everything else. So in some ways, I think they're going to get the parks involved. To what extent, they haven't said yet, especially since the 50th is still going on. I don't think they want to let that all out. But I wouldn't be surprised that in the next several weeks to month or two, we're going to get some more information on that.
Yeah, because I'm just curious because I'm going out there in August for a few days, so I was just curious if I was going to see the transformation, because we did go out there to see the 50th. Is it going to be a different theme when I get out there in August? They didn't do that much theming work, unfortunately, for the 50th.
In August, yeah, you're going to see some different stuff. I don't know what. Like I'm curious what they're going to do with the castle because they put all that ornate work on it. And I personally think the castle looks fantastic as
So do I.
this way. Um, it would be nice to have the castle back in its usual form, but at the same time, I would be kind of upset that it goes back to the way it was because this stuff just looks so nice on it.
Mhm.
Um, again, why would it's on there. All it takes is to change out that one gem. I mean, when Disneyland had its 50th, they celebrated through all the parks across the world. And on the Disney World Castle, they did put some ornate work, and there was a giant centerpiece, bigger than is similar to the 50th medallion that's on it now, but twice as big. That's out in the front, and actually changed pictures to show the castles from all the other parks that are around the world at that point. So
Oh, wow.
at that point, it was Tokyo, Paris, Florida, and California. So I don't think was Hong Kong open then. Maybe Hong Kong was around there. Either way, so every so often it changed and showed the castles from around the world. So you did stuff like that, and then that went away. So would I be surprised if at end of March stuff started coming down and you see the paint job going back? No. Again, would I be a little upset? Yeah, but it is what it is. Be thankful that we had it for when we did, and it wasn't a giant birthday cake like they did in the 25th.
Yeah. I'm just thankful we got out there to experience that, to see it. You know what I mean?
That too. I am very glad I was able to go and experience it. I mean, unfortunately, yes, I did not get to see Enchantment. And I will not be able to see Enchantment in person.
It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it,
Versus Happily Ever After?
Probably not as good as that, you know what I mean? But it was still enjoyable. I didn't walk away hating it, you know what I mean? So,
and you know what? I've heard a lot of backlash with Harmonious, and
no, I enjoyed Harmonious.
Now you saw with the fireworks, I didn't.
Yes.
But even without the fireworks, I really enjoyed it. I think the music is fantastic. I listen to it quite often online through it's on Amazon Prime Music. Spotify has that as well. A lot of the streaming services have it. I've listened to that album many times, and the more I listen to it, the more I actually enjoy the music. I understand where some of the animation and stuff isn't what it should be. I don't understand how or why they felt it necessary to go with completely original images to put on those screens versus using film clips. Maybe they didn't. I mean, it's silly to say they didn't have the time to edit and use film clips when you had the time to actually create whole new animation.
Right.
It's an artistic, stylistic decision and choice, and I didn't think it was all that bad. The laser work, especially during the Milan segment of the sword flying in the air, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying I don't see that stuff going away. Changing, yes, but going away, no.
Right.
You have these wonderful tools to work with, this palette to be able to work with. I foresee them trying to work with that palette some more.
Yeah, keep what you got, try to make it better, work around whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Make it, just improve it. I had, again, no issues with that display. So
no, but one thing they promised will stay around is the beacons of light on Spaceship Earth. So the lighting effect work that they have on Spaceship Earth is permanent.
Oh, they're keeping that.
That is, yes, they said from the get-go that is staying.
That's a good move because that
good. Again is beautiful, spectacular. It's a brings more life into the show, into the Epcot.
The park, yeah.
It's just so stunning and beautiful to watch. And from all the way across the park, it's beautiful and amazing. And even up close in person, it's beautiful and amazing to see.
I think I actually texted you when I saw it because I'm like, I wasn't aware that it
Yes.
was going to glow or anything. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, that's cool. That's new. And then it started changing colors. I'm like, is this new? And I texted you, and you're like, yeah, that's new for the park. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
And they changed up the fountain in front of it, and it's just such beautiful picture. I took so many pictures of it.
Yeah.
The 2 days that I was there, and it is just, I could have just sat there, like find a nice park bench, sat down, and just watched that for hours probably.
Yeah.
And then they play the music in the park, and images change and according to the music, and it's so synergistic and just so nicely done. And it harpens back to the Fountain of Nations that they used to have in the middle of Innoventions or Communicore, that again would play music, and the fountain would put off a show according to the music that was playing. Now they've stripped that out, and that's where Moana, Journey of Water, which will be opening at the latter part of this year, will be going now. And so you lose that element, but you've now transferred that to Spaceship Earth. So you don't have that during the day, but you have it at night, and it is just so mesmerizing and just so beautiful. And you kind of forget where you are. You can run into people because you're just so busy just watching the spectacle on there, and it's just a good. Bravo, Imagineers! For doing
exactly.
That. Bravo. So you got that over at the Magic Kingdom this year. Also, in spring, no official date yet, but most likely April, possibly even March. You'll be getting Tron Light Cycle Run, which they have over in Shanghai. From the people I've heard that've been on it, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. It's another roller coaster like Guardians, but like Guardians, there's no inversions, just a bunch of turns, and you're in a motorcycle position as you're riding along on this. It's revisiting the world of Tron, Tron Legacy. The second movie. So it's that world of Tron, and it's as weird as it is to think that how old that movie is, and it didn't do so as great as they wanted it to, but it's given us this really cool ride, and we're getting it now here in the States after so many years of it being in Shanghai, and I think it's going to bring more life and vitality into Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's open and operational when I get out there in August, because I YouTubed
it will be open. Dave, I guarantee you.
Guarantee it's going to be open. Okay.
It will be open. Operational. I hope it will be open. Yeah. Operational.
But like, I did YouTube the Shanghai ride, and it looks, I mean, if that's similar to what we're getting, oh my God, I can't wait to get on that thing.
Yeah, I from my understanding, it's a twin of it. So it will be pretty much exactly the same. Maybe there's some minor differences, some minor updates and stuff. I know that the canopy is going to have its own light show and stuff on it at night. But it's it should be something spectacular. It looks like it's a lot of fun, and I love the Tron movies. So finally getting a Tron ride, I'm a little giddy about it.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can't be a fortune teller, but do you think there's going to be a big draw? I mean, I know it's probably going to be in the virtual queue and everything like that, but do you think there's going to be a massive, I mean, Magic Kingdom's crowded anyway, but do you think there's going to be a massive line for this thing? kind of like how Rise of the Resistance, when that first opened, there was just like a gazillion people there, and you're like, I'll wait till a year or two until the lines die down to get on that thing. Do you think there's going to be that massive outpour to go to this?
Let me check my magic 8-ball here.
And
Come on, let me just shake it up a little bit here.
You're the park expert. Let me know.
It says, "You bet your bippy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would sugarcoat it to make it easier for me to get on the thing, when I go.
The lightning lane.
I know.
From again, nothing official said, but the rumors, the mumblings I'm hearing is that you will have the option of the virtual queue that you do 7:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But they are also allowing you to just purchase a lightning lane for that. Again, that morning you'll be able to do that right away. So the pricing on that, of course, will fluctuate. It's a brand new ride, so it's going to be on the premium end of the pricing. But yeah, you will have a couple ways to try and get on that. You should. I can't guarantee, but you should have. If your luck holds up like it did for Rise, yes, you should be able to get.
If I don't get on, I'll send you an angry face emoji.
Yeah. Yeah. So really, that's all that's really expected at least in Walt Disney World this year. Even Disneyland. Well, Disneyland will be getting finally opening. It's Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway ride that's finally going to open shortly. Congratulations, because it is a fantastic ride.
That's a good one. Yes.
That's a lot of fun. So you'll be happy to have that. Mm-hmm. We got some stuff building in Tokyo, and I don't think there's much else going on in the other parks. And then, of course, there's all the film stuff and streaming series and stuff that. Pick a company, and we'll start there.
All right, let's start with. Let's lead off with Marvel.
All right,
dive in.
So we have February 17th, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where we get Kang introduced on the big screen, the baddie Kang, apparently. So we got that going on. July 28th, we have the Marvels. May 5th, Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3, which that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The trailer that we saw for that just I don't think it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be humorous, but I think this one is going to be sad.
I think so. Yeah, that's
in my understanding that this one is going to tell the story of Rocket.
Aww.
And if you think about it, it makes sense, because you look at the trailer, you see a young and raccoon, which you assume is Rocket, before enhancements.
Right.
And then you see another enhanced.
Oh, man, they're gonna pull at our emotional strings, man. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Because even some of not that they went into Rocket's character, but you could see the when they would pick on him and stuff like they have made mention to his upbringing that never delved into it, and you would still feel bad for the little guy.
Well, even just think in the first movie, and one of the points to me that stood out in the original movie is where Rocket is changing his outfit to the prison outfit, and he takes his shirt off, and you see all the electrodes and cybernetic parts attached to him, and the scarring. That part really kind of resonates. There's no words. It's not saying anything, but just it's centered on screen, and it just really resonates with you that what that character has been through, and you don't fully understand. Yeah. Despite his wisecracking and his making jokes and doing things that Rocket does, there's a whole nother side that we don't know, and we're going to get that in this one.
I'd be okay with that too, because we got Star Lord's a story. You know, how much you're gonna dive into Groot? You know, he died, came back as a twig, grew up again. You know,
well, Groot Jr.
Groot's
but
Groot,
yes,
yeah.
So you've kind of followed his life story that way. You'll get a little more too with like how did they meet?
How did they meet? Right. Yeah. They'll have their Chewie Han moment. You know.
Right, like you said, we've had we've had 2 movies of Star Lords.
Right.
Gamora's we've gotten a lot of that too. So and we've gotten a lot out of not Nebula. Well, we not so much Nebula. We got a little bit, but not too much out of Nebula. But Mantis. Hers is a very short backstory.
Right. And Drax is Drax, so you know.
Yeah, he told us his, and it's kind of that's what it is. It's different than the comic books, but it is what it is. So yeah, we just have really Rockets left, and that's I think the most tragic of them all.
Yeah.
So I am really looking forward to this one. Even though we've been promised this the last of the Guardian Galaxies as we see them. It's not necessarily going to be the last Guardians of the Galaxy, but it will be the last of this iteration of Guardians, which the last of the Avengers that we knew before, and now we're going to get new Avengers.
New Avengers, right?
Guardians, maybe seeing something similar.
But this is the last one from Gunn, though, isn't it? Like, doesn't?
Yes, because Gunn's gone over to the dark side.
Right.
I mean DC side.
Right.
So yes, he's he's going to be busy with that, and if it's going to be new Guardians, let it up to somebody else. I mean, Gunn laid the framework, and someone else will see where their vision takes it from there.
Right.
Let's see here. In theaters, we're also, this is a Sony production, but it is Marvel still. The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie will finally be coming up. It's supposed to have come out this year, got pushed back to next year. That looks, again, pretty crazy. So, if it's anything like the first one, it will be really good.
Yeah. My daughter's like, we watched the trailer. I looked at her. She just like, her mouth was wide open. So I know she's ready to watch that one because we enjoyed the heck out of the first one.
Oh, absolutely. My kids still listen to the soundtrack. They love it, especially before sporting events.
Yeah.
June 2nd. So that's halfway through the year we'll get that one. I guess I'll bring this one up. Kraven the Hunter.
Well, that's what I read a little bit on that. I guess that's it's Spider-Man, the Spider-Man universe, like the Sony section with Venom and all that. Is that, yes. Did I read that right? Okay.
Yes. Venom, Morbius, it's part of this spunk.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But Morbius got a lot of hate. I watched it recently. I was okay with it. Did it blow me away? No, but I watched it. I was able to get through it. The Venom movies, I enjoyed the heck out of both of those Venom movies. So I'm a fan of that.
I've yet to watch them, so I'll be honest and fair on that. I haven't watched them, so I will not judge.
Yeah. Yeah, don't hate on Venom unless you watch it. Like, to me, I thought they were great. So if this movie is in that realm, there's, in my opinion, there's potential for it to be, good.
Well, yeah, but they've changed the character up drastically.
Who? Which, Kraven or?
Yes.
Oh, well, see, I don't know. I don't know any of that backstory stuff. So me going into it without having that knowledge, that's maybe why I enjoy this stuff.
Could be. And I'll just leave it at that because, it's October 6th at this point, for now. And, we'll just leave it there. Stuff that we don't have dates for. Secret Invasion, that should be coming out soon-ish. really looking forward to that. Ironheart, that's going to be in the latter part of the year. You know, Riri Williams was a pretty cool character in Wakanda Forever, so I look forward to seeing her series now.
Mm-hmm.
So and she's now where Ms. Marvel, we got introduced on the Disney Plus series, and now she's going forth into the Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
Riri Williams, Ironheart, was introduced in Wakanda Forever, and now we're getting her in a Disney Plus series, so she's going the other direction. Right. So, you know, things are really becoming a lot more, as Kevin Feige promised, you know, things that happen on the Disney Plus series will influence the movies. Stuff happens in movies will influence the Disney Plus series. That is now pretty much in full effect.
Now, I'm assuming there's no release dates, but does that have anything to do with the Star Wars stuff that's supposed to? I know we'll get to that later, but does that have anything to do with when the Star Wars stuff is dropping? Because I'm assuming they don't want to overlap them or drop them both at the same time.
Yes and no. I think yes. You know, they're trying to spread the things out. I think part also to see, you know, where things are with production and how it's going. And then I think also, you can't announce everything all at once.
Right. True.
So, you know, you hold off on that to just kind of build the interest, and then, okay, you know, not much to talk about in news. Let's put this out here now. Oh, we got a date for this. Oh, we got a date for that. Mm. So that's, yeah, that I think that's where that more is at. Yeah, because something I know that's coming out, they were having a little issue with as far as its pacing. I'm not sure if it's Ironheart or not, but something. Or maybe it's Agatha, because you got Agatha Covenant of Chaos coming out as well.
Mm-hmm. Loki season 2.
Loki season 2. I am so ready for that.
Yes.
I am so ready for Loki season 2, especially because you had Loki introduced Kang.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting the bad guy Kang in Quantumania. And now we go back to Loki, where bad guy Kang is in charge.
Ooh, yeah.
Because that's where we left off at the end of the first Loki. Mm-hmm. So I am so looking forward to Loki, and I really enjoyed Loki the first season.
I was gonna say I might have to do a quick rewatch of that when season 2.
I would have no problem rewatching.
No issues. Watch it. Yeah.
No, that is definitely. Season 2 of What If is supposed to come out this year.
Yep. That's one I got to dive into. I heard it's really good. The What If stuff.
Oh, you didn't watch the first?
I have. I tried, and then the schedule got hectic, and I was like, I see the potential in it. I just haven't had the time to delve into it fully. You know what I mean?
Well, and again, you know, unfortunately, you now have seen that some of these characters have spun out, so it is part of MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But it is well done, and I didn't expect it to pan out the way it did initially, but you know, maybe you know, knowing what you know now, will figure that out.
Well, it'll, like, when I watch it, I'll probably have like, oh, that makes sense now, or something. Kind of moment. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You had Marvel Zombies, but I don't think that's this year. I didn't see that on this year's slate. I know that's coming out, but X-Men 97, that's going to be coming out later this year. Super excited for that. Because I love the animated series back in the 90s on Fox.
That's an animated series?
X-Men 97, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the animated series that was on Fox Saturday mornings in the 90s?
Yeah, long time ago.
This is a continuation of that same exact series.
For real?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, then.
It's not a new series. It's not a reimagining, or it's not a reboot of the series. It is picking up where that one left off.
Stupid question. Is it animated the same way? Or
yes.
Is it? Oh, cool. Okay.
They're keeping to the animation style as much as possible.
Right.
I want to say they brought in some of the same voice talent. they're trying to keep it as organic as possible and connected to its original.
Right.
So yeah, you got that all going on. And like I said, I really love this series. I was an X-Men kid. I didn't read the Avengers so much. I read the X-Men comics. I watched the X-Men series. So I am all about the X-Men. So I am very excited for that.
And I know how excited you are to get them into some of these movies now too.
Like I said, they've been dropping lots of subtle hints recently. Right. Between Ms. Marvel, Doctor Strange, there's another one too that they mentioned. They hinted at mutations in genetics. Mm-hmm. So it's they've laid that groundwork. So when it finally happens, which I think will be sooner than people expect, but not this year.
Yeah.
It won't come out as too much of a surprise.
Yeah, no. They'll definitely be there by the end of the 2024. Those two Avengers movies. They'll more than likely be a part of that.
Oh, I'm most certain.
Yeah,
most certain they'll be in there. February 10th, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur comes to the Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. I think Disney XD, but Disney Channel. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. That looks fun. Mm-hmm. Yep. The little bit that I've seen that they've released of that looks enjoyable. That should be a nice series. Yeah, I think that is everything that we know of, or I was able to find and remember of the Marvel slate. Mm-hmm. Dave, where do we go next?
Let's do Disney. We'll save Star Wars for a little bit later.
All right. So Disney, we have was able to find, and I know there's going to be more, and there's some stuff I didn't put on here because it's not as, can't touch on everything. Mm-hmm. The Little Mermaid live action that comes out May 26th with Halle Berry, mm-hmm. not Halle Berry. So Rob Reiner's Little Mermaid that comes out. We'll see about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not much we know about it. We just saw that 30-second trailer, and that's all we got.
They showed more. They showed the full part of that world segment in at D23, mm-hmm. And I heard it's beautiful and it's really nicely done. So, mm-hmm. We'll see. Not gonna judge. Gonna judge. Something actually I'm a little more excited for is August 11th. We're getting the Haunted Mansion. Mm-hmm. So I am looking forward to see what they did with it this time. Obviously, they're not doing the Haunted Mansion Eddie Murphy. It's not a remake of that movie. It is an entirely new movie, and I think they are putting their big boy pants on
with this one, yeah,
and going something. I mean, you bring in the Queen of Scream herself.
Elvira?
No, not Elvira. The one for the Halloween movies.
Dang it! I know you're talking to you too. And I can't. I'm having a. Once you say it, I'll.
Oh, brains don't fail us now.
How do I not remember this?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be in it as Ma'am Leota. Mm. So floating around the crystal ball.
But isn't it? It's been a while since I saw there is a trailer to this, correct? That I remember seeing. There's no trailer.
No, we have a title,
and that's it.
We have a title screen, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh, for some reason I thought. Are they pushing any limits on this one as far as like a horror stuff, like they did in Werewolf?
Supposedly, like they haven't really said. The little description that I have here, and this may not be 100% accurate.
Mhm.
A single mom named Gabby hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise their newly bought mansion after discovering it is inhabited by ghosts. So Winona Ryder's in it. Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota. Jared Leto is the Hatbox Ghost. Danny DeVito is a college history professor. Rosario Dawson plays a character named Gabby.
Okay.
Owen Wilson plays a character named Kent. Dan Levy's in it. Lakeith Stanfield plays Ben Mathis, whoever that is. Tiffany Haddish plays Harriet. Let's see here. Kurt Yu plays a police officer. Hassan Majane plays an unlabeled character. Chase Dillon plays Gabby's son. Walter J. Buck plays Marathon Runner. Let's see. J.P. Edwards plays Caesar Ghost. Phyllis Davis plays a funeral mistress. Yeah. Trying to see. Yeah, no, that's about all that we're given so far. So yeah, no real take on anything beyond this. No trailer. Nothing yet.
Okay.
But I am expecting them to go a little more darker in this. Even though it says genres at the moment are plotted as comedy, drama, family, fantasy, horror, mystery.
Ooh.
That's quite the gambit of.
Yeah.
No, but no real details beyond that. But still looking forward to it because I enjoy Haunted Mansion lore. So, and I think one hopes that knowing how beloved the Haunted Mansion is, that they do a better job this time around.
Do it right this time.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Eddie Murphy one, but it is not the movie that it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
We're also getting Proud. I think in February, Proud Family season 2, Louder and Prouder. I've watched some of the first season, and I actually enjoy them. I'm going back and watching the original series because it's really a continuation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an enjoyable show. So I'm looking forward to. I'm glad that they're got season 2 going on that. We're getting Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney Plus. That's going to be a live action.
That might be interesting, but there's no real anything on that yet, right?
No, we got a poster and that's it.
Yeah, because that was announced at the D23, right? And that was like that's all it was announced, and we got nothing. Okay.
Yeah, nothing beyond that. Tiana series as well. We got that coming.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing. Speaking of Tiana, in a few days, the 23rd will be the last day that you can ride Splash Mountain in its current form. Before you get Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which they're saying is going to open in 24. Again, I'm not going to hold them to that date. But they're saying they're going to get it done in just over a year.
Wow.
The switch over. So we shall see.
But it's the same. It's the same ride, right? It's
going to be. It's the same ride house. It's I'm going to say it has to be the same ride track.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm saying it pretty much has to be the same ride track is one, the show building is laid out very particularly.
Right.
And two, it's concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for them to change the tracking at all, it's going to be quite the feat.
Yeah.
Just to get the old animatronics out to put in the new animatronics and special effects, you're going to take a lot of jackhammering and stonework. So unless if they are very much leaving, if they're just taking the skins off the animatronics and putting on new ones,
yeah,
which is quite possible, and it explains the timeline, and then removing a lot of the theming, that it's if they simplified it that far, which I think would be an injustice to this redo that a lot of people are actually looking forward to.
Kind of like what they would do at Six Flags Great Adventure when they had the Medusa ride and then they changed it to Bizarro, and all they did was like put Bizarro's picture up and repaint the track, and there you go, it's done.
Well, they added a couple special effects. And at one point they had sound effects going, and then that stopped working.
Yeah.
But not far off. You're not far off on that, Dave. You're not far off. So hopefully they do a better job with that than Six Flags did with Medusa. The Great Adventure version of Medusa, because there's multiple Medusas that are different rides. Mm-hmm. Monsters at Work Season 2 will be supposed to be coming out. Monsters at Work Season 1 will be making its way to Disney Channel. Season 2 comes to Disney Plus.
Nice.
And then in theaters in November 22nd, you have Wish, the story of the Wishing Star, will be coming out. That was talked about in brief in D23. Not much known beyond that. Nope. Some point this year, and I'm really looking forward to this, Muppets Mayhem. Will be hitting Disney Plus following the Electric Mayhem.
That's a new movie?
No, new series.
New series, okay.
Yep, that they're going to be making a new album, and you kind of follow the mayhem as they create this new album with their producer and the guests that come on and help them out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've heard from the cast that they really enjoyed making this. That it's so fingers crossed. I'm always happy when new Muppet stuff comes out. I don't think we have enough Muppet content, especially stuff that plays forward. Like, okay, we got Muppets now, we got one season of that, and we haven't got anything more off of that.
Yeah, that's one. You're right. I agree with you on that. It's the one genre that they have that hasn't really been brought back.
No, and I still say that Disney is having a hard time figuring out how to make the Muppets relevant nowadays.
Yeah.
Muppet Babies has actually done very well for them. Mm-hmm. And that keeps on rolling, and it's been nominated and won several awards, and good for them on that. But to do what to do with the Muppets proper, and there's an audience for it. Mm-hmm. Because some of the stuff that they've done has hit and done really well, but again, they don't know how to take that next step and where to go from there. So that is sadly something that they still need to work on. So I'm hoping this is it. All of a sudden, it went dark in my office. I think my wife turned the lights out on me.
I can still see your Christmas lights around your microphone, so that's good.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, I haven't taken my Christmas decorations out yet.
Oh, man. But do you think in some ways, there you go, the light is on. Do you think in some ways this is a test, the Muppets Mayhem thing? Do you think it's a test to see if there's an audience to, bring out future stuff?
Yes. I think it's something that they feel confident about, in trying to go in a slightly different direction than Muppets Now, which was Muppets Now was never supposed to be what it is, what it ended up being. It was supposed to be just a bunch of shorts that they were going to release over time in just completely independent shorts. And then they stitched it together to form episodes, in Film Scooter kind of trying to put something together and make it more of a newer version of the variety show that the original show was. I personally thought it worked, and I enjoyed what I got. And as Matt has said on the show before, the Muppets take time to get going. So you can't, to give it, was it 6 episodes, and say, oh, well, that's it. You need to give it time to really find its footing. And they have proven that time and time again with the original Muppet Show, Muppets Tonight. These things, it needs its time to really find its footing and get going. So I think they did Muppets Now an injustice by not giving it at least a second season to see what happens there. Now, who's to say that they don't have that in a back burner somewhere that, okay, maybe we can revisit this and do another round of it. But as far as I know, there's been no talks. I haven't heard anything about any talks going on. So my assumption is that that's done. We're moving, Muppets Mayhem is the next project. We'll go from there. But I mean, go ahead. They did Muppets Haunted Mansion 2 years ago now. Sorry, last year was 22. Muppets Haunted Mansion came out in 21. So they are trying to keep the Muppets going. You had them in the parks. That unfortunately got went away from COVID. They did bring them back when they reopened the parks, not as a show, but just as kinetics to the park, and they had them at their windows where the great moments of Muppet history was presented, waving to the audience because you couldn't have walk around characters.
Yeah.
So to have characters in the park and interacting, they had the Muppets there and waving, and they drew a crowd.
Yeah.
Even there was no show going on, they still drew a crowd. And I did see them a couple years ago when I was there, and I saw the Great Moments Muppets history, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I was really happy that they had that. You stayed true to the characters. You kept it themed to the area, and you got to do more. I'm glad Muppet Vision is still there, Muppet Vision 3D. But I will beat the drum for the Muppets to the day that I can't beat a drum. I can't stand up anymore.
The Muppets 4D is still enjoyable, though. I mean, we went there and saw it, when we were there again for the whatever time we saw it. It's still enjoyable, Well,
I was there in November, and I still love the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I think I like it more now, knowing, I can recite the show, probably.
Right. Exactly.
But I think it makes it even better. And I still say that's one of the best pre-shows out there.
Yeah.
Because it's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, they've added in a couple little more elements, and one of the back monitors now, they have things of Muppet spoofs on Disney movies. So, like, instead of Tron, you have Prawn, and you have Pepe dressed in a Tron outfit, and it's all digital, but it's Pepe, so it's Prawn.
Right.
It's stuff like that. It's great. It's great. And then going on to things that I'm excited about. This is the big one in November. Even though it's not a Disney production, Disney announced end of last year that they will now have the distribution rights to Doctor Who for everywhere outside the United Kingdom. I know you know nothing about that.
I know zero about Doctor Who.
And I'm sure half our audience knows nothing about Doctor Who. Probably more than half our audience. Even the people in the UK. So stay tuned here because I plan to have called a dummies guide, but a 101 session on Doctor Who and slowly introduce people on this end, knowing that I have, I think, till November. I reached out to Disney to try and get a little more information on that. They haven't gotten back to me. I'm not holding my breath till they do because I'm not expecting them to. Because I was trying to find out the exact details. I know as of this moment in the United States, the 2005 forward relaunch of Doctor Who, all of those episodes could be found on HBO Max. Now, the question is, before HBO Max got the rights to it, they were on Amazon Prime. And then January 1st, and I know it was January 1st, because on December 31st, a few years ago, my daughter and I were watching Doctor Who on Amazon Prime. We paused it to watch the ball drop in New York and watch the celebration. When that happened, then we went back to finish watching the episode, and we couldn't because the rights had expired from Amazon and they were now HBO's. I didn't have it. We were both quite furious about it.
Wow.
So now I have HBO Max. So I have access to the library. I also own most of the library now myself, and I've made that point.
So for a newbie like myself, if I wanted to delve into this, HBO Max is the way to go. They have from what, 2005 to current?
Right. Now you have to keep in mind that when it launches in November, it is launching with the anniversary show of Doctor Who. Now, take a wild guess what anniversary this is, and I'll give you a hint. It ends in a 0.
Well, I know it's been a long. I'll say 60th because I know it's been around.
You
for
would
a long
be correct.
There
It
you
is
go.
the 60th anniversary. This show has been going
forever,
more or less, for 60 years.
Hmm.
As long as people might think The Simpsons have been on for quite a long time. This show started. It aired the day of or the day after, and I forget exactly, but I believe it was the day after President Kennedy was assassinated.
Mm. Wow.
That's how long this show has been going on for. And do you need to watch all 60 years of it? And I'll tell you this now.
That would be my follow-up question, yes.
No.
No. Okay, good.
Should you be familiar with the different points of this character's history? Simplifying that, the way to explain that. Yes. And what I mean by that. So, how do you have a character on a show that's lasted for 60 years to be the same character?
Mm.
Answer: you don't have the same actor. So the character is an alien. He's not an earthly human. He looks human, but he's not human. He is an alien being. It's a sci-fi show. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's an alien. The thing that they came up with when the original actor, William Hartnell, was no longer going to be running the character is, what if he changes? It's the same character. Mm-hmm. So he's known as the Doctor. It's the same character. It's the Doctor, but now portrayed by somebody else. And we'll call this regeneration. Mm. And that's how you have the Doctor for a show for 60 years. So he
So every season it's a different main actor
no
playing Doctor Who.
Every several seasons.
Every several seasons. Okay.
Most recently, it's every 2 seasons. It's kind of worked out, and that is a culmination of that's kind of what's been happening, and the production for the show has been stretched out. So, Jodie Whittaker, who just finished her run, did 2 seasons, but she's been the Doctor now for 6 years.
Oh wow.
4 6 years. So the seasons haven't been coming out very fast.
Are we talking the 26 episodes per season, or are they shorter?
Usually it's about 12 episodes.
12 per season. That's not
12
bad.
or 13 episodes. One of them usually being like a holiday special.
Okay. All right. Because I was gonna say if there's 26 a season, I don't know if I can develop that much time into.
No, it's more of the modern era, like Game of Thrones and all that, where you're dealing with like 12-hour-long episodes.
Okay.
So yeah, there's like key episodes that are important because they do explain some stuff. They usually do when there is a regeneration, there is a little bit of a reboot there to explain what's going on with the audience. So those are usually good jumping on points. But if you're familiar with I'm trying to do the mental counting, 12, 13, 14, 13 different Doctors that have come in the past. And yes, I can actually rattle off who they all are. If you just get familiar with a couple of their stories to know who they are, then you pretty much have and who some particular villains are, because they have certain villains, one called the Daleks, one called the Cybermen, and the Master, who generally show up throughout. They're like the main bad guys, and then you get the secondary bad guys, just like in the comic books. Mm-hmm. So the Avengers, you have Thanos, but then you also have this guy, and then you have this guy who shows up, and this guy who shows up, who are minor guys, but they're still villains that show up every so often. So you have that with this as well. So that kind of follows along, but now with more technology and stuff, things have advanced. You have a more faster pace or a different type of storytelling than you've had in the past. But yeah, it's always been one of my favorite shows. I remember watching it as a wee one on PBS Saturday nights, with my brother and sister. We would make popcorn and we would watch it. And then when they went off to college and it was just me at home, I would continue watching it Saturday nights. And then whenever it went off on TV, I was buying the VHS and watching them on Saturday nights in my room. And now I watch them with my kids. I've introduced them to it. So we'll watch that, and have my collection has grown quite substantially. So it's for a while. I mean, the only way I was able to watch it, my brother fortunately was smart enough at the time, because it was VHS in the 80s. You recorded them on Saturday night, and so for the longest time I wasn't able to go out and buy them on cassette, or they weren't available on cassette at the time at the stores. So I would just have these recordings that my brother made and just keep watching those over and over and over again.
That's what we did back in the day.
Yep.
Said it's a 6 hour, you could put their hour, you get 6 episodes per tape.
Yep. So I do. That's one of the things I do have planned for this show, is doing some introductory work to Doctor Who to prepare for the 60th anniversary. I mean, 60 years for any show, that is quite the accomplishment, and to be around that long. And the show has actually grown, where before in the 80s it's like, Doctor what? No, it's Doctor Who. I never heard of it. Only found on PBS Saturday nights. The there was an audience, but it was very small and very much kind of like Star Trek, where initially not so much, but then as the show came back, the audience grew, and then same thing with Doctor Who as it came back in 2005, and Christopher Eccleston was reprised the role as the Doctor for just one season. The show started to get life, and then David Tennant took over after him, and the show really blew up at that point. Then Matt Smith followed him, and again, at Comic Cons, the actors would show up, and there was droves of people there, and a lot of excitement going on. And then Peter Capaldi followed him, and the show started to wane a little bit. Jodie Whittaker took over. There was a new showrunner at that point too. So things slipped a little bit, but now we have a new guy coming in, and I apologize, I haven't remembered his name yet. The showrunner has changed again. I think will be a good thing for the show. It will boost things back up. But so I do plan to. It's not a Disney owned thing, but it is on Disney Plus, so therefore I feel that it is attached, and we will, it's justified in us talking about it.
But is Disney's endgame to get the whole library? Like, will it eventually down the road be on there?
And that was my question to them. It was a twofold question. Is it only from November, the airing of the 60th anniversary forward, that they will have the rights to the show and any of the shows at that point that started with that episode?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they get the back library of all the stuff from 2005 and is getting all the back library as well as the stuff moving forward? So that's what I wanted to know, and I haven't found the answer to that. And all the press releases and everything, I may have to reach out to the BBC on that. But there is quite the possibility that I turn on the TV now and everything on HBO Max is gone, and it's going to be on Disney Plus, which I would be fine with.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't found the answer to that yet.
Yeah. This is sometimes it's a pain with it because you got to chase the show. Which streaming service is it on this week? Right,
and that's because to me it would make sense for it to leave HBO Max and go to Disney Plus for them to sign everything over at that point,
right?
Or at some point this year that transitions. Spoiler alert: we're recording this before January 1st, so if it has happened already, we have the answer. If it hasn't happened yet, is potential that at some point this year, depending on when the agreement with HBO ends and this begins, because I would think naturally January 1st, because that's when HBO got the rights.
Mm-hmm.
They would lose the rights, but I don't know. And again, it would make sense that Disney gets the full library,
right?
And not just the starting point at the 60th anniversary. Any of the stuff that happened before 2005, the BBC has on BritBox, and that's where the rights to that stuff is locked up. And so you will not find that as part of the agreement because it is part of BritBox, their paid subscription streaming service. Why would they give those rights up?
Right.
And occasionally you can find it on Pluto TV. They do have a dedicated Doctor Who channel, which they cycle through certain episodes, and that channel is sponsored by BritBox. So the classic stuff that's where that is found. The new stuff, the 2005 forward stuff, that's what usually going to be what's circulated a little more. And in all fairness, that is the more popular stuff. That is the stuff that most people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Not old geezers like myself that want the classic stuff as well.
Yeah, I don't know to be honest with you, I don't know if I could go back that far and watch like the original. Like I might be able to catch on with 05 and move forward,
Well, someone that we know who's been on the show once and hasn't decided to come back and join us again with his presence. I introduced him whenever it was the 50th.
Uh-huh.
So 10 years ago. And I gave him a selection from my library of the prior stuff so that he knew again the characters. And then some of the more recent at that point, some of the more key episodes to get familiar with the broader stroke. And so now he has a grasp of it. And then you can go back and fill in the gaps from there, but at least has a good footing.
You gave him the first episode and the last episode of the season,
and then just spelled out everything in between. Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, see, I'll let's finish this up here.
Yeah.
The old stuff wasn't like that.
Right.
So you would have multiple stories, and then they would probably do about 20 episodes in a season. But they were half-hour episodes.
Okay.
And a story arc, or the story itself, would typically be 4 episodes, so 2 hours.
Right.
So Invasion of the I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Spearheads from Space, which is one of the episodes from John Petrie, the Third Doctor, his introductory. It's 4 episodes long. 4 episodes long, each being half an hour, making up approximately 2 hours story. That was a whole story, not an arc, a actual story. So you had, you broke the book up into quarters.
Right.
And then after that, you just went to the next story. In 4 episodes. And then after that one finished, you just went to the next one.
Similar to that last bonus season of the Clone Wars, right? Where there was 12 episodes, and it seemed like the first 4 was dedicated to one story, the middle 4 was another, and the last 4 was like another. That's how I broke down that last season of Clone Wars, but
somewhat, but there was some connective tissue between them, and there was the overall story arc throughout the season.
Okay, right.
This, not so much. This is more like, think of the old Star Trek episodes. The original series of the Star Trek.
Yes.
You had this week's episode. And that was it. Next week's episode. That was it. And they really didn't cross. Now, occasionally you'd have some characters pop up from here and there.
Right.
And that's how Doctor Who was, because it started roughly around the same. It started before Star Trek, but it is a product of the same time. So this week, whatever this block's story was, began with this episode, ended on that episode, and you relatively move forward from there. The original stuff gets a little more hazier, but since then they've kind of packaged it better because every episode had a different title. It wasn't part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. It was, title A, title B, title C, and you kind of just the whole season flowed. But they've now packaged that where, okay, this story involving the Daleks began on this one, ended on this one. Each chapter has its own title, but the overall story is this, and it's this block of 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah.
But and then as the show progressed, they became a lot more definitive. All right, this is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 of, say, Leisure Hive. Part 1, 2, or 2, part 3, part 4. And then, at the end, he would get into his TARDIS, which it looks like an old British police box. It's a blue thing. You've probably seen it, especially on The Simpsons. They have shown up on there. And he would take off and go, show up at the next week, show up on his next adventure.
You know a lot about this show, boy.
People think I know a lot about Disney. You would be surprised how much more I know about Doctor Who. Hence why I'm saying I will have an introductory course.
I just wish I could help you out, man.
I will teach you. This is a sonic screwdriver.
That's from Doctor Who?
Yep, it does many, many things.
Okay.
Including making
Oh, nice.
noises. Yeah. I will indoctrinate you. I will you will be getting your own 12-foot long scarf.
And then I'll come back on and we'll have a discussion on how much I love Doctor Who.
Yes. I honestly think it would be up your alley, knowing kind of your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You're into the sci-fi stuff. I'm surprised you haven't already.
Yeah.
Dipped your toe into it. Moving on from Doctor Who. Because it's a Disney podcast and not a Doctor Who podcast yet.
Yes.
Not yet. Pixar's Elementals coming out June 16th. We have a little teaser trailer. People are trying to think, oh, this is how this is going to fit in there. May I remind people that a lot of times, particularly with Pixar, that they will release teaser trailers that have absolutely nothing to do with the movie, other than to show you some of the characters and some of the art style. And that's what we got, most likely with Elementals. And then one that I know you'll be excited for coming to Hulu in just a couple of days is Welcome to Chippendales. Ladies, start your engines. Not a family show. I heard from Jeffrey Epstein of D23. He enjoyed it quite a bit. Thought it was a very well done show. Ladies, enjoy. And let's look forward to what Lucasfilm has for us to wrap things up. We have starting, actually, as I time this out, probably the day this episode drops, because it'll be January 4th, and I haven't looked on the calendar yet to see when January 4th is, but it should be a Wednesday. Yep. So same day this has come out. When we finish up, go over Bad Batch Season 2 has started. I absolutely love Season 1. I cannot wait for Season 2. Looks really fun to see where things going. We talked about last week. We got to see kind of how the Empire is developing. We got to see a lot of that in the first Bad Batch. Season 2, I'm expecting more of that.
Yeah, and we're getting the multi-episode release too. I think at least 2. I don't know. I think the first season was 3 episodes. This one I heard 2.
Yes.
Don't hold me to that.
You're right.
Okay.
2 episodes. And then mid-season, there's going to be another 2-episode block, and then there will be a 2-episode season finale. I believe that's how it is. But yeah, so multi-episode first block, 2 episodes dropped today. And then single episode going forward till I think it's March where we'll get the mid-season break. And then the rest will follow after till I think May. Mandalorian season 3 coming March 1st. Cannot wait.
Yeah,
Love
that's the big one. Yeah.
I think that's one of the top ones that a lot of people are excited for. You have Jedi Survivor video game coming March 15th. Just after that, the first game was phenomenal. The second game looks just as good, and there's a companion book that's going along that's going to come out, is coming out, that will talk about what happens between the 2 games. Then things that we don't have dates for, Star Wars Acolyte, how the Sith kind of work their way into the Jedi Council, into the Jedi Order. This takes place during the High Republic age. Excited for that because that's again another time. It's a whole new time frame that.
Right. This is the one that's pre the Emperor, right? Pre Palpatine.
Yeah. This is like 1,000 years before.
Okay.
Phantom Menace.
Right. So we're going to see some old school Sith people in here. So there's promise on that.
Some original Sith stuff.
Yeah.
Characters that we never heard of, and it's So yellow lightsabers all around, a whole bunch of cool stuff. I'm excited for that. With the promise again, it's expanding the universe. It's more the history of stuff, and how things got to what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks great. Skeleton Crew, again, we don't know much about that one.
Yeah.
But Jude Law, so I mean, some decent casting there. Star Wars Vision season 2. I enjoyed season 1, so season 2 should be. Looking forward to see what they bring there. Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. This is a Disney Junior show. It's going to be Disney Plus, Disney Junior. Star Wars for the young kids. I mean, start them off young. Why not? Then, of course, you have Ahsoka coming out at some point. Don't have a release date on that.
That's going to be another big one there.
I can't wait. She is probably one of my absolute favorite characters in Star Wars. I was very tempted at being able to buy her lightsabers at Doc Ondor's last year, but they're a little more expensive. And my wife said, they're boring. I'm like, they're Ahsoka's, but they're boring, but they're Ahsoka's.
Exactly.
And they change color. Wasn't impressed. I'm like, you get two. Still not impressed. But I absolutely, I didn't know anything about this character just a couple years ago, and took my time to start learning more about this character. And the more I learn about this character, the more I love her. She is absolutely phenomenal. Emily Leonard, who's been on this show several times, absolutely loves her, and I can understand why. So I look forward to this series coming out. It's a continuation of Star Wars Rebels.
Right.
In the live end.
Yeah, because there's going to be some characters from Rebels in it.
Showing up, and we'll leave it at that. So, yep, that's going to be fun.
You don't think, because I'm trying to think of if the Mandalorian would set her up, but she really doesn't need the Mandalorian. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the Mandalorian season, because you know how they all make cameos in all their shows. I don't think you really need the Mandalorian to set her up for her series.
I honestly don't know, but from what I have pieced together will be happening in Mandalorian season 3, I wouldn't be surprised either. Yeah. Because there will be some crossover of characters.
Yeah.
So we shall see. We shall see. I mean, she appeared once in season 2.
Right.
She appeared in Book of Boba Fett. So we kind of have her moving around. Could there be an episode where she appears in Mandalorian that sets up and really sends off the Ahsoka series? I wouldn't be surprised, but we may not get that either, and I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine either way.
Yeah, true, either way. But I was just sitting there thinking, like, because like you said, she's always jumping into all the shows, so I'm assuming she's gonna be in the Mandalorian at one point.
Yeah. Supposedly there's going to be a crossover with a number of the shows, so we shall see. We shall see. And then the big granddaddy of them all on June 30th. Dave, what's coming out on June 30th?
That's your Indiana Jones, right?
Yep, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The Dial of Destiny. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, but I just wish Harrison Ford didn't age, because you want him to be the main guy in it, but I know he's the main guy, but it looks like they're doing a bunch of time jumping where, a younger Indy is in it.
Well, it's a de-aged Indy, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that may have to do something with the Dial of Destiny. I mean, we know nothing at this point.
Right.
All I know is that the trailer that I saw got me so excited and just energized for this. I wasn't too thrilled with when Kingdom Crystal Skull came out. The movie, was itself was fine. The ending left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, and I thought they could have done a little better personally.
Yeah.
Last Crusade is my personal favorite. Uh, so, I what I've seen, the 2-3 minutes that they showed us of Dial of Destiny, looks like they took a lot of caution and care. United States in the 1960s. Got that going on. Somehow the Nazis are involved, of course, because it's Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of stuff that we don't know what's happening.
This has to be his last rodeo with this, though, right?
He says this is the end of him doing Indiana Jones. Yes.
Yeah, because he did his send off in Star Wars, obviously, and now he's doing his. I figured he just did that to do a send off on the Indy character and then call it a career.
Yeah, he said he's not breaking his leg for us anymore with the.
Yeah, I know.
He is hanging up the whip in Fedora.
Yeah.
So it will be his his final bow, but it's I'll be sad, but I'm looking forward to it at the same time.
Now, do you think there could be another, like say at the end of the movie, he hands his whip to a younger kid, and then that younger kid becomes the next Indy? You know what I mean? I'm just throwing something out there. This way they can have a new generation of Indiana Jones.
There was talks about doing another TV series because you had the Young Indiana Jones Adventures.
Yeah, I remember that.
Way back when. Which I really hope that makes its way to Disney Plus at some point. There's talks about how they want to do another series somehow, which they could do another Young Indiana Jones series. There's also rumors that there's a woman playing his goddaughter in this, and that she may be the one to take over the man. I mean, Shia LaBeouf after Kingdom Skull was supposed to be the next
Indy.
Yeah. But obviously that didn't happen. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is supposed to be his goddaughter in this. So does she take over? She was in. It was a voice in Solo. She was L337. She was also. Oh no, she did the screenplay for No Time to Die. Just try to see what her works. What she's done in the past. She was in one of the seasons of Broadchurch. Okay. I don't know. Abby Thompson. I don't remember the character. So anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, but I believe as far as Harrison Ford and Henry Jones Jr., this will be it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just seems like all these, you're getting a lot of the 80s movies being redone, 80s, not early 90s maybe, they're getting redone by the old actors and stuff. That seems to be the trend. But that eventually has to stop. So I'm wondering, you know what I mean? They had the outside of Disney, Rambo came back, he did that. That's finally to bed,
Top Gun.
Top Gun. I heard they're doing another Lethal Weapon, another Beverly Hills Cop. There's all these old school movies that are having one last hurrah. So that's why, are they going to end the Indy with this, or are they going to end it and with, a teaser of somebody else taking over?
They haven't been too definitive, other than Harrison Ford saying, "I am done after this.
Right,
true. Will not be getting me back
exactly.
after this. I am done."
And that's the thing is, okay, yeah, he's done. If they wanted to move along, would they have? Would the new person be able to bring the draw for a new trilogy? Say, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, there's always that potential, but I mean, look how long they've taken just to get to 4 movies of Indiana Jones. I mean,
true.
It started in 86?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Right. Well, look how long it took to get a sequel to Avatar, so it's like they could wait. You never know.
Almost as long.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for a sequel to Big Hero 6. Where's that sequel?
That's in the works. That is fine. Well, but we did get the animated series in the meantime.
True. Yes.
And then, that's something else that we got last year, and we forgot to mention last week, was the Baymax shorts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And those were fun.
They were cute. Yeah.
I don't think did I finish them all? I don't remember if I actually watched them all, but the ones I did watch, I really, really liked them.
Yeah, but some of the episodes, if you haven't had certain talks with your young ones, it might pop up.
Yeah, it could spur some
questions of
some talks,
your younger ones.
Stuff.
Yeah, which isn't a it's not a bad thing. It's just that could just be prepared.
It depends on the
age of your kid. Yeah,
my kids ended up watching that episode. I want to say without me letting saying
right.
Either way, they just put it on. I think it just completely went over their heads.
Right. Well, they're boys. I got a daughter, and she was like
exactly.
So
my daughter's older and already knows all about that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was one of the things that they talked about in Turning Red, and people had a problem with it. If you are trying to find a way to broach the subject about womanhood with your child, and you don't know how to do it,
mm-hmm.
in my way of looking at this, it gives you an opportunity to have something that they may be interested in watching and bringing up the subject that way. It takes out some of the you have to prepare yourself, and it's always going to be uncomfortable for the adult and possibly the child too. Mm. But it lends itself into it puts some information out there and a few answers to bring up more questions and start a conversation.
Right.
And as I mentioned whenever we talked about the Big Hero 6, is that Cosby Show did a very similar episode where Keisha Knight Pullman's character, Rudy, got sent home from school because that happened to her.
Right.
It was Women's Day. I think that was the name of the episode. And Felicia Rashad, her mother, Michelle Claire, talked to her about what it means and why these things happen, and and had the talk with her.
Right.
So these are very similar along that veins. It's not something that is new and hasn't been done before. That was done in the 80s for Cosby. Mm-hmm. So it's something that girls should not be ashamed of, and they shouldn't be embarrassed. Right. It is part of life, and it happens. Mm-hmm. And I think they're trying to just again, it's part of life. It happens. We put it out there. They will put other things on TV and not bat an eyelash, but that is a problem. So you have to change the perspective in some ways. But that being said, that was something we forgot last week. Let's see. I think that is the extent that we know of from Lucasfilm.
Yes.
Any other ones that maybe I forgot, Dave?
On Lucas, I don't.
Or in general.
Or anything in general.
Anything in general.
I'm pretty sure we nailed it.
All right. For an episode that I figured was going to be half an hour, we're just a little over on that.
Well, you had to go on your half-hour Doctor Who rant, so.
Well, you kept asking questions.
I'm sorry.
I had to explain 60 years of history.
All right. So you might have to, if you ever do your Doctor Who podcast, those are going to have to be like a part 1, part 2, part 3 because it might be like a 6-hour long podcast, man.
I have some plans, and I'm not expecting to be the only one on the episode. I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being that, a lot of things to look forward to this year, and this is just what we know, and the year will definitely bring up more information and more releases and more surprises than what we know. And Disney has proved that time and time again. Hey, they've been around for 100 years now, and good for them. And I can't wait to see what the next. Well, I won't be around for 100 years, but what the next several years, the next chapter in Disney's history will bring to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully, one thing I want to know this upcoming year, if they finally come up with an answer to who's making the next Star Wars movie. That's what I want to know. There's speculation on everybody and anybody making a Star Wars movie. I want to know who. I want facts.
Patty Jenkins.
Yeah? Is that definite?
You didn't see the letter?
No. She
released a letter stating that she apologizes that she's been so quiet on the topic. She was busy, with DC, who tapped her for Wonder Woman 3.
Right.
Which has fallen apart. Mm. And with recent events over there, she is now free. And this is an agreement that she had with Kathleen Kennedy, that she was to finish up her agreement with DC to then devote herself to Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron, right. That was right. Okay. So now I know who you're talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that the DC part is done, she will be returning to work on Rogue Squadron.
So that has
if I remember, I will find this letter. It was out on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And send it to you so that way.
That's one of those moves. That's one of those. It was greenlit. It wasn't. It was greenlit. It wasn't.
It was never completely off the table, but it kind of got lost in the sauce and the shuffle, as it were.
Yeah, because again, you've heard the rumors. Rian Johnson, Taika Waititi, all these cats that are doing.
Taika, they keep on saying is they are, is a go. Now I'm sure with how Thor: Love and Thunder underperformed, they are a little, maybe not as excited, but that hold on, let me just say this here. Well, that is not to say that it isn't still in the works, and they still keep on saying it is in the works.
Right. Well, as long as he doesn't tell a Star Wars story through the eyes of a Gungan, we should be okay.
Misa think this may be a Will Swain.
Oh, can you imagine?
And on that bombshell.
Yes.
Happy 2023, everyone. And we look forward to a lot of stuff that we have on to bring with this show and what Disney has to bring next.
Yep. I look forward to it too. Happy New Year to everybody, and have a good one.
You too. Happy, healthy, safe, and prosperous. Thank you again to Dave for joining me this week. Happy 2023, everyone. Join the conversation. What are you looking forward to this year? Find our main Facebook page at facebook.com/WDMagicast. On Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, we are found at WDMagicast. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where if you search WD Magicast, I'm sure you'll find us there. Check out all the cool videos and the audio version of this here show. And also let us know. We want to know, should we start a Facebook group? This way you could be a little more interactive on there. You guys could post things, and we could do some polls. We could do stuff on there. If you're interested, let me know. We'll make it happen. But I want to hear from you. You can leave us voice messages through the Anchor app or Anchor.fm website, or record a message electronically on your own smart device, your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever you have, and email it to us at email@wdmagicast. You could also use that address to send us any questions or suggestions you may have for this show, right to that email address as well. Or you could also use our nifty website, which has links to all these social addresses, and you could fill out a form and contact the show through there. The website is www.wdmagicast.com. I want to thank you for your time. I know how crazy time has been, especially with the holidays and everything that was in full force. Things are slowing down now, but hey, life is still crazy. Life is crazy either way. So thank you for your time. Thank you for spending this time together. It means a lot to us over here at WD Magicast, and I cannot thank you all enough. But please, if you could, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. If you leave us a review, I'll read it on the show as long as it's appropriate. And leave us a rating if you just want to go in there. We have all 5 stars at the moment. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Keep it coming. Same thing over on Spotify. And it really helps other people find out about the show. So it just takes a couple seconds and let us know. Also, share out that you're listening. Share out a link to your favorite episode, the episode that you're listening to, all the above on your social networks, and make sure to tag us in there as well. Help grow this show. I mean, that's, we do our part, and we really appreciate whenever you let other people know, because Walt believed in a big Disney family, and so do I. The more people that listen, the more things that we will be able to get accomplished and do for you, and do some extra fun things. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when new episodes are posted. While you're at it, also consider becoming a premium subscriber. Really help the show out. You can do this over at anchor.fm/wdmagicast/support, or find our Patreon page. You can also check out our merchandise shop, where you can get yourself some really cool, fun WD Magicast stuff. Mugs, shirts, hoodies, sweaters, jackets, all the above. Lots and lots of fun things. You can do this over at our TeePublic store. Links to all these are in the show notes and on the website as well. And remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. In Japan, broken objects are often repaired with gold. The flaws are seen as a unique piece of the object's history, which adds to its beauty. Consider this the next time you feel broken. Now, I'd like to end this week's show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. Happiness is a state of mind. It's just according to the way you look at things. So I think happiness is contentment, but it doesn't mean you have to have wealth. All individuals are different, and some of us just wouldn't be satisfied with just carrying out a routine job and being happy. Again, that's from Walt Disney. Thank you for listening again, everyone. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time.